Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Command Point, where we are talking all about shapes today. Isn't that right, Shane?
Yes, this is a geometry-themed episode.
Yes.
If you've been paying even a little bit of attention over the past 3 or 4 days to the Kill Team communities, the Facebook groups, you've certainly noticed that people can't stop talking about shapes. It's just shapes.
This is the new fascination with the new edition of Kill Team is these shapes.
Okay.
So Shane, what are these shapes?
The new data sheets, if you've looked at them, in the movement, before it was, movement 6 inches or 8, and that would be measured in inches. People got used to this, obviously. This is a normal thing for Games Workshop games. Now, the new data sheets, it'll say things like 3 circle, or 2 square, or, 1 pentagon. And admittedly, I'll even admit, the first time I saw this, I was like, what on earth is going on here? Am I having a stroke? Is this nonsense? Am I being trolled by GW? We're not. The shapes are real. They can't hurt you. And we're going to talk about it today.
Yeah.
There's a whole shape video.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Oh, this definitely is deserving of its own video, just because of all the confusion that we've seen out in the wider Kill Team community. I think I've done a pretty good job of explaining the shapes and everything in the daily videos that we've been putting out, where I go over all the latest Kill Team articles. So if you have been keeping up with those, you're probably one of the more well-informed people. For those of you who are not aware, this video is going to just help explain everything. So I guess we should just start off with the first article in which these shapes are first mentioned. They say the first thing you'll notice is the movement characteristics. What exactly does 3 circle mean? So they show in this guide here that each circle is representative of 2 inches. Triangles are 1 inch. Squares are 3 inches. Pentagons are 6 inches. This whole system is made to revolve around these measuring tools that are included in the starter box, basically, right?
Before we shame the complainers, because that's what this is going to be, right?
Yeah. Because
Before we do that.
Well, I don't think we should shame the complainers, because a lot of people just simply don't know what they're just simply not informed, right?
They don't know what they're complaining about.
Yeah. So I guess we can shame them for that.
Yeah. So before we do that, though, I'm going to throw them a bone. Like you said, a triangle is 1 inch, a circle is 2 inch, a square is 3 inches, and a pentagon is 6 inches. This is as arbitrary as it gets. I don't know why GW chose these shapes to represent the, you could have taken these shapes, with the exception of the pentagon, I think, and kept them, but just used them for different measurements. Okay, a triangle, the only 3-sided shape being 1 inch instead of 3 inches. Why?
Yeah, I agree.
And then a circle, the only 1-sided shape being 2 inches, also why? And then a square being 3 inches, because nothing says the number 3 like a square. To top it all off, a pentagon being 6 inches. What were they thinking?
The sides of the shape corresponding to the measurements. I think that would have been a better route to go. Or if they just wrote 1 on the triangles, 2 on the circles, 3 on the squares, and 6s on the pentagons, that would have cleared up a lot of this confusion too.
Anyway, let's explain why they exist, because there is an actual reason. I believe it's a guardsman and a marine generally is going to have 3 circles as their movement rather than 6 inches. The negative people might be thinking, but why? And the reason for that is because when a model gets hurt, or maybe they get debuffed in some way, instead of taking away 2 inches flat from some of these debuffs, you take away 1 circle and then their movement becomes 4 inches, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And this allows you to affect models that have different movement characteristics in a more streamlined way. You would have a Ravener with 2 pentagons or whatever, and you take away one of the pentagons when they get hurt. You are streamlining movement modifiers in a way. It sounds weird now, I'm sure, to many people, but I think it's going to be a lot easier to decipher once you're playing the game.
Once you get used to the system, which, I mean, I looked at this article. That's all I had to do was just look at this article, and I know the numerical values and their associations with the shapes. It's not hard for people to do.
And on top of that, I know some people have said, well, what if I don't get the starter box and I don't want to buy these gauges? And I think that's somewhat valid, right? You don't want to have to buy this different thing just to play the game.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
have said in the newest article, you can just use your tape measure still. They have confirmed it. So You don't need the gauges. You just need to know what the gauges mean.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there's only 4 of them right now. This is not the sky is not falling. Relax about the shapes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the shapes corresponding to the numbers is a bit funky. Triangle probably should have been 3, but it's okay. Maybe one day the guy who did the shapes will stumble upon the faded hexagon that they clearly had not heard of before, and then all will be right in the world. But until then, we're good. It's easy. Just use your tape measure. You don't have to buy these things.
Yeah, I know that was probably the chief concern with most people, was seeing these measurement gauges and thinking, oh, these are going to be proprietary. They're like not going to be in inches. It's going to be some weird measurement. I know that Star Wars Legion, they use like proprietary measurement gauges in place of tape measures. And but yeah, you don't got to worry about picking up these new measurement tools in order to play Kill Team if you already have a tape measure. But I will say that using these tools as opposed to a tape measure is probably going to speed up your game a fair bit, right? Because nothing outside of this game that's been previewed so far has like a range of over 6 inches, right? Like the Flamer has like a 6-inch range that we saw on the Veteran. And all the other ranged weapons, they're going to have unlimited range unless otherwise stated. So you don't have to worry about that. So you don't need a measurement tape if you're just using these in order to play Kill Team, right? And so that means you're not having to open up your measurement tape every time you have to measure anything when you just have these tools right here, which are going to be way faster to use. So it's just like a quality of life thing.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're able to be bought independently and you don't have to get a starter set to get them, I would actually recommend going out and getting them if you're not getting the starter box, because everybody I've talked to that plays Legion or another game that uses these things has said over and over again that this makes their game easier.
One other thing that I want to mention is that I have been using measurement gauges in my games of Kill Team that have like different measurements on them, like one for 6 inches, one for 3 inches, one for like 9 inches, I think is on mine. And I got that from a third party, like a store on Etsy that's just like 3D printing them. So like if you're worried about having to pay a premium with the GW prices for these sorts of measurement tools, shop around on Etsy or something, because I know people are just going to be 3D printing these measurement tools.
No, for sure. I mean, people have been making things like this on Etsy forever, and people love them.
Yeah.
But I mean, GW does it, and it there's
then everybody freaks out. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, anything else we want to talk about the shapes?
Long live the shapes. We love geometry. Right?
Yeah, I did. No, I did good in geometry. That was like the one math class I did good in.
I think that was the one math class I was terrible in high school.
So so the guy who was bad at geometry loves the new shapes in Kill Team. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this cleared up a bunch of the misinformation out there in the Kill Team community. Thank you for supporting us, especially to our patrons over on Patreon. It really helps out the channel a lot to be supporting us over there. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.